chaos will be sung from their passage. So saith the wise Alando.
Welcome back to Mages and Murderdads. I'm Cameron.
And I'm Danny.
And this is the only show that's dedicated to the Baldur's Gate series. We still have not checked to see if that is true. This is episode 23, and today we're going to be talking about the Bridge District.
Yep.
That whole thing is one word. The Bridge District.
That's how they roll in Athkatla. The Bridge District has developed a particular kind of dialect that doesn't include spaces between any words or syllables. They just say all syllables at once. So, like, what I just said would translate to just like...
Just it also compresses time.
Mm-hmm.
Brr.
Yeah.
Much more efficient, I'll be honest with you. It seems. Here at the top of the show, you can follow us on Twitter. Both me and Danny have a pretty strong Twitter presence. You can go down to Danny's Twitter to see his pinned tweet. Pretty solid joke. You should go check that out.
Hot takes.
Very hot take. A very hot take about Toriel. You can also like us on Facebook. We have a pretty happening Facebook page still. I say this every episode, but it is still true. You can like and subscribe to us here on YouTube, and you should hit that little bell button that's somewhere on this screen. I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to find it out, I'm sure that your other favorite YouTubers have already really beat that over the head for you.
Yeah, hire a guide to find it for you. Go to a YouTube page that is dedicated to showing you where the damn bell is. Subscribe to that, hit the bell, and then come back here and hit the bell after you've watched 2 or 3 tutorials.
Fly to Nepal, hire a Sherpa, get to base camp, then ask where the bell is. They'll know. And then after you finish your climb, come back, hit that bell.
Hit the bell. Shout out to the subreddit and all the commenters there and here on YouTube. We got a real good crowd. We've had some real ass conversations over the past little bit. Had a pretty strong and hefty debate on Reddit about the different versions of D&D.
That may be some content we put down the pipe.
Yeah, let us know. This is just a little thing at the top of the episode, but let us know if you think you would listen to a 5 or 6 episode series of us talking about the different versions of D&D. We have in fact played all of them.
Yep.
To more or less, or to greater or less degree. So if you're interested in that little video series, a little short form, maybe a Patreon exclusive, let us know.
Fun times.
Speaking of Patreon, you can support the show there. You can click on that link. So, Danny, we've really let it slack when it comes to the big questions in life.
Yeah.
Early in the days of Mages and Murderdads, we were doing, the big stuff. What's the meaning of life? What is Thaco? What is Elminster up to right now?
What's the best beverage in any tavern on the Sword Coast?
Those kinds of big and important questions about the realms. So today, I think we need to return to that. I think we need to return to a big question. What is the best school of magic not featured in the Baldur's Gate franchise?
So I think it's the big, what is it, 9? Maybe 8? 8
I think
schools.
there's 8.
Yeah, 8 schools that are in Baldur's Gate now. Abjuration, Conjuration, Divination, Enchantment, Evocation, Illusion, Necromancy, Transmutation. But that's not all of them, right? There are definitely some conspicuous absences there. Geomancy, for example, not included there. Chronomancy, which is way OP. I don't know what the Greek word for gravity would be, but just that, and then mancy, if you wanted to control gravity. But I think all of those potential misses, it would be ill-served for the game to include any of those before fully implementing Foulomancy.
What is that?
That is the control and commandeering of birds.
You know what? Can I tell you what I thought you said?
Yeah.
Phallomancy.
Mm-hmm.
Like Phallo Mancy. And I was really waiting to see how you might incorporate that in a family-friendly way into the show.
No, God, no. Why would anybody want to do just dick magic?
So you're saying, instead of that, phallomancy, aviomancy, perhaps?
Avia just kind of flying. What's ornamency?
Ornomancy, yeah.
Ornamency.
So what would that look like, you think?
I think that you're doing things like creating large golems out of swarms of hummingbirds. I think you got like tensors floating discs, but it's just like several hawks. They're just kind of almost maybe in one body, just a bunch of wings. And you've got some real like summoning wise old birds like flamingos and owls to help you solve riddles.
So it kind of seems like what you're saying is that ornomancy, ornithomancy, whatever we've come to here,
or phallomancy,
or phallomancy is kind of like a substrate of magic. It kind of undergirds all other. You could subvert divination by summoning a wise bird.
Sure. Instead of conjuring a monster, just conjure a monster made out of birds.
Well, you're not conjuring, you're aviomancying or whatever.
Sure, that's right. Mm-hmm. You're invoking phallomancy to pop them up.
We would really have to like reorient all of our language around that.
Yeah. What if it's not the weave? What if it's birds?
So you want to explain the weave really quick? we have not talked about that a single time on this podcast.
Yeah, which is interesting. So in different campaign settings in Dungeons & Dragons history, there have been different kind of explanations for what magic is, what arcane magic is. And in the Forgotten Realms, the explanation is the weave. And it's basically kind of the pseudo-quantum mechanics of the Forgotten Realms, of Toril, that everything is held together by this substrata, and that is magical energy, and by understanding the way the weave works, that is what makes arcane magic, specifically like wizards. Although, it's a little. I've read conflicting reports on whether like sorcerers are tapping into the weave, right? I'm
unclear
not sure about that. Yeah, a little unclear, but definitely wizards are like they're basically little quantum physicists, right? Like they understand the way things work, and if you can just like study the weave and figure out how it flows, then you can control it.
And it's also literally the god of magic. Like, the weave is the goddess of magic at the same time, which is confusing.
Sure, but, both a spirit and the son and the father.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? A wizard did it. In both cases.
Just like it's both waves and it's particles. That makes roughly as much fucking sense. Let's face it. No matter where you are, you're backing yourself into a corner of just absurdity. So it might as well be wizards and weaves.
Mm-hmm. That's the name of our other podcast. That's about spirituality and science.
There you go.
Wizards and weaves. No one steal that.
Please. It's gonna take us a while to get around to that, so please just respect we're calling it.
Oh wait, hold on. So the weave is just a bunch of like phantasmal birds? We didn't knit that up.
No, that would be the implication, right? Like that's why phallomancy, ornithomancy are the kind of superior schools of magic, because you're getting down to like the foundational level.
Mm-hmm. And it's birds.
So
I'm really surprised you didn't come to this. My idea. Musclemancy.
Ah, yes. I too have seen that little webcomic.
Wait, hold on. What? You
haven't seen. There's a really good webcomic, which we can link to it, perhaps, and it has the artist name on it. So I'm blanking there, but it's a hulking man in a gladiator pit with a horned helmet. And he's saying, I, the amazing, something or other, am going to slay you. And, people are like, huh? And he says, I cast magic missile. And he throws a fucking spear into one of them. And they just die. And then he says, color spray. And he cuts one in half. And, blood erupts from them. Right? Chain lightning. And he's just, punching a person. That's muscle magic.
That would not be what I was going for. Can I tell you about the muscle magic I was thinking of?
Sure.
Picture in your brain the original printing of the magic card, Force of Will.
Yeah.
It's a wizard. Hulking with muscles. Just ready, rip-roaring, ready to go. And Force of Will, those in the audience might remember, is straight up a counterspell. Whatever you want to do, this hulking wizard says, nuh-uh, not on my watch. I'm gonna flex. I'm gonna flex so hard it shoots your spell out of existence, and that's what happens. So that's the kind of muscle magic I'm into. It's direct counter magic to all. So you're gonna conjure an ogre. I'm not gonna slay it. I'm gonna flex so hard it zips out of existence again.
So the muscles are still controlling something actually magical.
You've got an illusion. You got a great white shark coming at me, but it's an illusion. Flex my muscles, it disappears. It's just kind of
jiggle your pecs, and it boop, it's gone.
No, that's a glutes situation. You flip around. Each one has a specific muscle configuration.
So every muscle group corresponds with an individual school of magic. So which muscle group is ornithomancy?
I think they might be incompatible.
Yeah, in
ontologies.
These cannot be in the same universe.
Yeah, mutually exclusive magical universes. Yep.
Well, leave it in the comments if you've got a better school of magic that is not featured in the Baldur's Gate franchise. I think it's going to be rough.
So what did we do today? What did we do for this episode, Danny?
Well, we kind of took on the mantle of some meddling kids, if you know what I mean.
You know what? I did rip off a rubber mask earlier today.
Uh-huh.
Unrelated to the game.
Oh.
Yeah, just day-to-day stuff. But, I'll tell you something before we talk about what we actually did together in the episode, or things we did similarly. After that rousing story you told during last episode about your Celestial Fury sword.
Yes.
I ran in there, and I went and got that damn thing.
Yeah, it's so good. Did you kill the slavers?
I killed the slavers, and I killed the monsters that you ran away from.
You killed the Glabrezu?
I killed the Glabrezu. I killed a djinn. There's a djinn in there. There's a few things. I killed them all. I did it. I think I just cast Cloud Kill.
Did you get experience for any of that stuff?
Someone in the comments of the last episode said that you don't get any experience, and I did not record this, so I can't go back and check. It's kind of a bummer.
Just lost to the sands of time. It probably means the commenter's right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about, I knew it wasn't going to make the episode, so I thought, I spent 15 minutes doing it. So, who knows? I do like that guarded compound, though. That's a cool little zone. So, we went to the Bridge District, and there's a guy at the opening of the bridge. Number 1, when you show up. His name is Lieutenant Aegisfield. Terrible name.
Well, there have been worse.
Shieldfield.
I don't even know if we are able to really throw much shade at Aegisfield.
I think we can, because we know that there's at least one person in the world with a perfect name, and his name is Belt. So, get at me, Baldur's Gate designer people. Why can't you replicate that? Why can't everybody? Belt, shoe, tunic, pants, leggings. I can come up with that all day.
Eventually you get to the sequel and it's wallet chain.
Oh, you think wallet chain is going first? Hat feather.
Hat feather.
So what does he tell us?
We've got a real Jack the Ripper type situation going on in the Bridge District.
He actually says that verbatim. That's a quote.
We've got a murderer, and at first the protagonist, you can kind of be like, well, what's the big deal? There's people, like 1 billion people die in Baldur's Gate every month. And he says, oh, but it's not like all those other murders that are done for reasons like greed or ideology.
The justifiable, real reasons you might murder.
Real reasons that people commit murder every day, including me, as he cleans the blood off of his longsword. No, these are just like homeless people, vagabonds, some of the most vulnerable people in the city. They are not even being robbed. Like, there's no evidence that a mugging took place. They're just being killed, and they're being skinned.
I really wonder, because that is exactly how that conversation goes. And I really wonder, how do you know that a beggar on the streets of or Athkatla has not been mugged? Like, are they sitting on hundreds of gold pieces?
Yeah, they're just they're searching the body, and they're like, geez, this guy has 50,000 gold on him. And not a single piece looks disturbed. Or they have a little note in their little shirt pocket that says, I am carrying 5 gold on me right now. And they check the pocket, and sure enough, 5 gold.
Aegisfeld is like, all right, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's it. Yeah, not robbed. Okay. So what did Balthazar say?
So Balthazar says, hey, I'll get to the bottom of that. That seems like a problem.
Did you get to the bottom of that? I also got to the bottom of that. There's a couple ways to get to the bottom of this. I think I did it wrong. Well, maybe not. I don't know. So Aegisfield says, all right, there's a few people running around over here who have seen some of these murders take place or been around when they happen. And so you should go ask them what's up. So there's a woman named Rose, kind of a lady of the night. This is kind of like the sex worker district, the red light district of the city.
It's certainly I would say the most in that vein that we have visited so far. And I think that even after we visit the entire city, it's still going to be this one, right? Like, this is the one where that's played up the most.
And so there's that woman named Rose. There's this older homeless man named Rampa, and there's like a child and someone else too.
Yeah, so you can go talk to those people, and one of them, like Rose, will give you everything you need to finish this quest if you just speak to her.
Yeah, I talked to Rampa, and he was like, "Oh, he said the guy ran by me." Jack the Ripper, fake Jack the Ripper, fantasy Jack the Ripper, ran by me, and he dropped some skin. Ooh. And he said, it's not normal animal skin. Ooh. And he gave me a little hunk of it.
Gross.
And then I talked to Rose, and she said, oh, the guy ran by me, and he smelled weird.
Smelled weird, smelled
like some kind of berries. And so she said...
that was the closest analog she had. And when I ask her, well, what do you mean these kind of berries? And she'll point across the way, like literally 5 feet away, to a merchant named Bell Dalemark. And she said, I think he might be selling like some of the stuff that this smelled like, these type of berries.
I think that at this point in the quest, of trying to solve this quest, I'm thinking... some playtesters had a really hard time with this.
I don't think so. I think that anyone that would have had a hard time would just look at the map and know that there are literally 4 places in this map. Like, there are 4 buildings you can go into that are not bars. And I'm just saying, they are very conspicuously labeled.
I'm just saying that she's like, she tells you very explicitly to go talk to that guy, and then he's like, here's 3 things. They all smell like that berry. It's probably not that berry. And then you take those things back to her, and she says, oh, yeah, let me smell all your stuff. And she says, oh, yeah, it's this one. And you go back to him, and he says, oh, yeah, you use that to make tanning supplies, to make tannin, to tan leather.
Oh, so you think that people have problems because of how easy it is? Like, did they went back and made it easier?
Yeah, I think so. That's my belief. It just seems like she points you to him too explicitly, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's for a game that is like deeply unforgiving sometimes when it comes to quest design. It's just a little bit too easy.
Well, also, I think it may have been a missed opportunity to include a berry person, right? Like it would have been nice to include somebody that could be falsely accused.
A berry salesman. So at the end of this, normally I don't. Normally I would not look at a guide, and I didn't look at a guide while I was playing, but I did look at a guide at the end to see if that were true, to see if there was a possibility of accusing the wrong person, because I thought that would be cool, and you kind of can. If you talk to the child, did you do this? Did you talk to that kid?
I don't think so.
If you talk to the kid who witnessed one of the murders, he will point you to the woman on the far left side of the map who she sells potions. Did you meet her? She looks like a dark elf, but probably
Oh, that's
isn't.
right. And you've did you have to like pay to look at her wares, or it was a little shady what she had?
No, that's the cut purse standing right beside her. This is a very small district.
There you go.
So she's there, and apparently he says, I think it's that old lady. I think she's a witch. I think she's doing it. And you can falsely accuse her, and apparently, based on the guide that I looked at, from sorcerers.net or whatever, from 1997.
Great. Sorcerer's Place.
And so apparently, according to that, if you falsely accuse her, Aegisfield is like, no, it's not her. Trust me. But then she disappears, and later on in the game, you can get a random encounter, like in between zones that you're traveling to, where her and her buddies attack you.
And she really is a witch.
She really is a witch. I guess. I don't know. Once again, I'm just going by what I read in this guide. Because I was trying to see if I just solved this really easy, and if there were different ways to do it. And I guess not. Yeah.
But anyway, like we said, it's very, very simple to put together. Oh, tanning supplies. Oh, one of the 4 places you can walk into on this map is called the Tanner's Shop.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you roll over there, and this was abrupt.
The lines of dialogue that happen the moment you walk into this place are some of the funniest things I've ever seen in a video game, and not on purpose. So I roll in to this little zone, this little Tanner's house, and immediately this guy's like, "Hey, can I help you?" And I was like, "Hey, I think there's murders going on outside. Can I check your place?" And he was like, "They've already swept here." And I was like, well, I think, hey, here's all this stuff. Like, this woman said you're the murderer, and also here's some, like, elephant hide I found, and, probably only you have that, so I think you might be the murderer. And immediately...
Yeah, you're basically like, yeah, I've got an ironclad case.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I guess you've got me. And then launches into a maniacal monologue about, like, his deepest, darkest... quest that he must fulfill. Mm-hmm. Presumably for murder. I don't really know.
I think I know what the quest is.
What do you think the quest is?
I'll let you know when we get to the end here.
Okay. So he runs away.
Yeah.
And he runs downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I go downstairs following him.
Yeah, and I think it's 3 levels. It's like the ground floor, the one below, and then the kind of basement.
Mm-hmm.
And
like basement 1, basement 2.
Yeah, and the it's really, I think it's kind of interesting because he runs through, and this place is super trapped.
It's full of traps for sure. One is cloud kill, one is lightning bolt, one is sunburst. I want to say
like some real make you have a bad time type traps.
Some level 11 traps.
Yeah,
and so you don't have a party.
No.
So you didn't get any dialogue. Since I have a party, Aerie, when I went down to basement 1, basically, she's like, "Oh fuck, this sucks." Like that's the equivalent. That's the nicest equivalent, because covered in dead bodies.
Yeah, and I imagine people are like talking about the smell and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Talk about the smell and just being like, "Oh shit, that's a lot of dead bodies."
Yeah.
And to be fair, keep in your mind, that during the last game, Siege of Dragonspear, there were multiple occasions where I cast Skull Trap into a group of people and blew them up.
Sure.
Blew 7 people up, 8 people at a time. We've seized a castle.
Seized a castle, and there have been just periods where you were probably just like you could not walk around kobold corpses. You just had to like walk through them.
Yeah, you kind of gotta pull your, you gotta pull your pants up. You gotta grab them by the knee and pull them up and just kind of kick through.
Yeah, so the dwarves of the party are just pulling a sleigh that like just glides through corpses, and the rest of your party are just kind of like chilling on the sleigh.
That's what we need. Is a
corpse sleigh.
A corpse sleigh. Someone in the Baldur's Gate modding community get on that. Maybe that's Pillars of Eternity 2, Corpse Sleigh.
There we go.
Also the name of my metal band. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And we go through that, traps everywhere, we zip through there fairly easily. I have Yoshimo, and during this moment, as soon as I zone in to Basement 1, I can see him. And I can like shoot a couple arrows at the Tanner, whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. But I can't kill him before he gets to Basement 2, the sub level. And I wonder, and people at home who are listening to this, I'm sure someone here has done it. Let us know if you can kill him before he escapes. Because it took me a minute. I had to stop. I had to undo all these traps, and then I went to Basement level 2.
Mm-hmm. And it's an ambush.
It is an ambush. There are people hanging out there ready to kill you.
Who are these people?
You know what? That is a very good question. I can tell you the what. Mm-hmm. What are these people? There are a couple ghouls. Mm-hmm. Eaters of the dead.
Sure.
Eaters of the dead, right?
Yeah.
They eat corpses.
Makes sense.
Ghouls. There are a couple ghouls. There are a couple thieves.
Makes a little less sense.
A little less sense. And a wizard.
Okay.
Who talks in the third person. Huh. Like all wizards do, I guess.
Sure.
And he is like, the Tanner's doing the good work. He's doing my bidding. He's gone. He's out of here, y'all. I don't know why he has that voice, but he's plumb gone. And then he just attacks you. Or actually, no, he teleports away. Did you kill that wizard?
And we'll have to check the footage. But I generally just... I go berserk and I run around and I kill everything in the room. Maybe the wizard teleports away. Maybe the wizard ain't in the room after I'm finished. I'll tell you that.
He teleported away immediately for me. The multiple times I had to try to do it because those thieves were killing Ticklevar over and over again.
Ooh,
free range Ticklevar for the murdering.
Ouch. But the little fellow gets on a little underground lake boat. Boat's on away.
Boat's out. Boat's out of there. And I thought maybe, I can follow him, something. No. Impossible.
Yeah.
No one in my party knows how to operate a boat.
Not in an underground lake. Viconia should, right?
Everyone should know how to operate a boat. You stand in it and you paddle. Sure. Minsk should be like a power boat. You can tell I'm a boating expert by my use of terminology that is accurate and useful.
Minsk is a power boat.
A power boat. So, you tell me, what do you think, based on all this information, if people who are playing along with us, if they haven't figured out, what's up, you tell me what you think is going on with this mission here.
No, I think... So you find a note, is that right? We'll talk about that, right?
So, yeah, let's talk about the note. So on level B1, with all the corpses, everyone's real mad. You can go around, there's a bed that's trapped, which is weird. I don't know how you trap a bed, but it's got some jewels and some gold in it. And there's like a little chest, and the chest has a note in it that says, go to the Umar Hills. Tell me the password. And the password's like, murder. Something like that.
Sure.
But there's a riddle at the end of the thing, and the riddle is finding out the name of the person you have to speak to tell the password to. It's like a 5-part riddle, and it's derived from the person who wrote the note. I don't know. When we get to the Umar Hills, which is where you have to turn it in, I will go back and look at that note. But there's clearly more to this quest that we will complete further on down the line.
It would be very frustrating if that was the end completely. The Tanner escapes. That's it.
That would be very frustrating. That would be some guarded compound level stuff.
Sure. But I think I don't know. I have my own fiction about some of this situation put together in my head. I do not know if it is canon.
Is it /fic between Balthazar and the ghoul?
It's actually a little bit more prescient than that. It's Mechrath Tanner / right? We'll meet Mechrath later. No, it's none of that. I think that the Tanner was very close to creating his masterpiece, and like that's what he was intent on doing. And I think that other kind of beings and entities in the world were helping out the Tanner or assisting him because of his creation of this nigh masterpiece, right? And that masterpiece is the human flesh armor. Did you find that?
No. Where is that?
The human flesh armor. So when you're on the I think it's the first basement 1 level. There's that chest where you find the note, right? And it's kind of like up in the north, kind of the northern wall, right? In that chest. And there's a bed close to there, right?
Yeah.
And you can, when you highlight all containers, the bed does not highlight, but you can click a little bit under the bed. And
What?
Yeah, and there's a hidden container, which is very surprising to me that this game includes hidden containers. Right?
Yeah, this is not something, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have never encountered that anywhere else in the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, neither have I. And the fact that this exists now makes me... It's almost a little disconcerting, right? Because there's an element of, hey, you don't have to hover your mouse everywhere. You can hit, Alt, or you can hit that little button in the bottom right, and it'll highlight all containers, so you don't have to worry that you'll miss something. But no, this breaks all of that. And there is basically just leather armor, and it's like +1 or +2 or something. It's not that impressive, the human flesh armor. But later on in this game, you will... And also, let me say, the human flesh armor is only wearable by evil people.
Of course, yeah.
Sure.
You don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry wearing the human flesh armor.
Exactly. But later on in the game, you will acquire an item from a very difficult and unnecessary fight. And the only use that item has, to my knowledge, is to be combined with the human flesh armor in a crafting situation. And if you were to do that, the human flesh armor becomes one of the best pieces of armor in the game for someone that can wear it.
Yeah. Mega evil armor.
Mega evil armor.
Well, neither of us can wear that, right?
Well, that's what we're both saying, but I know for a fact, and this may be too much spoilers, there's more than a few ways for your alignment to change in this game. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay, well, so that's that kind of quest line on pause for a little while.
Yeah, we're not rolling to the Umar. We're not letting a Tanner decide that we're going to the Umar Hills.
No. We do that on our own time.
Absolutely.
So how did you get the quest for the Sigil Troop?
I was in the inn so there's a troop that's performing in the basement, right, of the Five Flagons.
Five Flagons is a very famous inn. I guess it gets mentioned quite often in the Forgotten Realms stuffs.
Yeah, no, a real mainstay in the fiction. And I was doing my regular Balthazar thing, talking to everybody, seeing if there's any quests or whatnot. And I find out that there's I think the bartender recommends that I go down to the basement to look, right? So I do. And I go down, and there's a performance going on. And the performance is terrible, because there's this character that has understudy in his name, I believe.
His name is Biff the Understudy.
Exactly. And Biff is flubbing his lines, and the crowd begins to boo the entire troupe. And the the head of the troop comes out, and I think is that Rayless?
Yeah. This person named Rayless Shy.
And Rayless says, hey, we can't give you a refund because we've already spent all your money. I mean, she doesn't say that, but we can't give you a refund. We will we'll let you know when we're ready to perform again. And also, if there's any adventuring types, I've got a quest. Like, she literally just says that.
Yeah.
So I talk to him afterwards, and I say, hey, I'm not angry about missing the performance. I'm an adventurer. I want the quest. And they let me know that they one of their little friends in their troop has been taken prisoner, has been kidnapped.
So it's interesting that that's how you get the quest. So if you remember back in the last episode,
Sure.
at the very end, where I said that a messenger had come from the circus from Quail to tell Aerie to come back. So I went to do that. So after I do the Tanner quest, I was like, I have no idea what the hell to do. So I was like, I guess I'll go do a party member quest, because I didn't know what other content to do for this episode, and I knew you wouldn't be doing that. So I thought, okay, great. This is my own little piece of content. But he says, hey, I have friends from the time back in the day when I was traveling the plains. Ooh. So Uncle Quail's got some like real ass history going on here, and we'll find out more about that in just a second. But anyway, so then he sends me there, and so that's how I got the quest. So it's functionally identical except for that setup.
I gotcha. Yeah, so the really interesting thing is this quest had me go back to an area I had already completely explored, because when I was exploring the sewers underneath the Temple District, and you go to the old tunnels, right? There is a secret entrance, and you can take that secret entrance, and I had already been there, and I talked to a wizard who's obviously evil named Mekrath, who gave me a quest to find something or other, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Did you do it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because I was walking around and I saw an elf that was drooling and was obviously enchanted or something, but I couldn't engage with it. So I said, well, I'm not going to fuck this quest up. I'll just kind of move on, and I'm sure the game will have me come back. And I just think it's cool that you were able to find that, and it just existed as a Gygaxian, oh, this is a place. This wizard's got a little elf slave.
Yeah, he lives there. That's his thing.
There. That's where he lives, and he's got his own little quest for you, etc.
Yeah, I'd also found I'd opened the secret entrance or whatever, and as soon as I walked up the stairs, I was like, I don't want to be here, and I'd gone back down. So I had it marked on my map even. Yeah.
So anyway, you go back, and I think Mekrath gave me. I think there's two ways to do this. You can do a quest. And in exchange, Mekrath will set the elf free. Or you can just kill Mekrath, right?
Yeah, I murdered Mekrath.
Yeah, I murdered the hell out of him. I may have done the quest and then murdered, for completion's sake, right?
The best of both worlds.
The best of both worlds.
Always kill the quest giver. If you meet the quest giver on the road, kill him.
Well, do the quest first. Otherwise, you're just leaving experience on the table, right?
That's true.
Although, that would be so good if, quest givers, when you killed them, just gave the amount of experience worth the quest that they were offering.
In the way that, in the first two Fallout games, the inventory that someone presented to you, so if they were a merchant,
yeah,
all that stuff was in their inventory, so you could just, kill them.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense. Where are those items otherwise?
It's a simulation.
It's a simulation. But
so, so did you roll around Mekrath's house, killing all the enemies in there?
I did.
There are Yuan-Ti there again. These are more Yuan-Ti who are just rolling around this world in Athkatla, being weird, because you remember the Yuan-Ti that showed up in the slaver thing?
In the slaver thing, yeah. I think it's strongly associated with slavery, right? Their presence in Athkatla.
Yeah, I don't know. I listened to an official D&D podcast the other day, and I didn't know this, but the Yuan-Ti are actually the progenitor species for the Yuan-Ti. are one of the creator races of the Forgotten Realms. They're one of the very first species to appear in the world.
That figures. I think in a lot of games, kind of the lost on a different continent reptilian race tends to have the longest history.
Mm-hmm.
Like
They're close to their roots.
It was the same with the Ixar and EverQuest, and I can think of a few other like analogs, right? Like their gods are way older and arguably crueler, but they've got a more direct connection.
Kind of some problematic assumptions in there, I guess.
I guess right, like that the real religions are brutal and horrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some like real colonial kind of assumptions.
Well, I mean, also it doesn't help that they're almost exclusively a jungle inhabiting race, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. At least I think in EverQuest, the lost continent of Kunark was a geographically diverse, kind of ecologically diverse. It wasn't just a jungle continent, but you know.
But so yeah, so these Yuan-Chi, they really wrecked me, like up and down. I had a hard time killing them.
There's the casters.
Yes.
Quite. I remember the caster being quite formidable in terms of. I mean, Berserk Balthazar is going to wreck, but I remember that thing casting a few before I had Berserk up, and I was like, "Ugh, this is bad. Bad news bears."
So killed them eventually. Killed Mekrath, who was actually a hard fight until I just ran everybody up and surrounded him and then initiated the fight and just focused him down before he could finish casting a spell.
Sure.
That's the real wizard problem. You got to be proactive as a wizard. You can't be waiting for other people to act on you. But then I freed Herr Dallas, this guy, the slave, and I stole a jewel from Mekrath. And that jewel, it was revealed to me, gave it to Rayless Shy, whatever her name is. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, that thing travels the planes. It opens up wormholes in the planes. Do you want to explain the planes? I think we've talked about it a little bit in the podcast, but not too much.
So when you're talking to the troupe in the Five Flagons basement, the acting troupe, you can remark, you guys look strange, which is like a very rude thing for Balthazar to say, but I guess it was in character. Like, why do you guys look so strange? Because their skin colors are quite irregular for the races and species of people they kind of represented visually in the graphics. Like, there's a dwarf, and it's got kind of like bluish skin, I suppose, right? And they say, yeah, we're not from around here, but we won't get into it. But I don't know. How do you even like really get into the plane? So I guess the cosmology of Dungeons and Dragons as of 5th edition, and it was the same way in 4th edition, is that Faerun, or wherever the setting is, like the main stuff, that the mud farmers and the taverns with the bar fights, that stuff takes place in the prime material plane, which is basically, like, one way to think of it is the intermingling of all these kind of platonic planes into one melding pot, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the Venn diagram of
it is the intersection of, like, a lot of different stuff, yeah. And you have things like the Feywild and the Shadow Plane are kind of like dark and kind of a dark necrotic version and a filled with life kind of version.
There's the Abyss.
You also have, you've got the elemental planes, which are kind of the prime elements and they're primordials that live there, right? And then you also have kind of the planes which represent the alignment, like the alignment chart, the 9 alignment charts, and you've got everything from the Abyss, which is like chaotic evil. You have kind of like where the devils and the hells, where the devils live, which are lawful evil. You've got kind of a Valhalla type place for chaotic good. All
There's
of that
a big
stuff.
chart. I'll find the chart.
Yeah, and we'll overlay it. But yeah, so these folks are traveling the plains, and they've been to Sigil, which you know what Sigil is, right?
Sigil is the City of Doors.
Ooh.
It is a city kind of that's also at the intersection of a lot of different planes, but kind of in a more 1990s way. like they all intrude, and what is real and what is unreal is kind of unclear, and you can make your way from the Prime Material Plane, or from Toriel, or from Greyhawk, or any of the other kind of like big campaign settings, Eberron, and you can find your way to Sigil.
And you'll also go to a bar, and there'll be like an angel and a demon like having a beer.
It's just kind of a crossroads of a lot of different things.
Yeah, like
and there are gods there,
point.
and they wreck your shit all the time.
100% of the time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these are interplanar travelers.
Sigil is where Planescape takes place.
Yeah.
For the audience at home, we will be doing something with Planescape at some point. Be on the lookout for a very special episode where we do a little micro thing on it, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if we've 100% decided what games come after the Baldur Gate series and Mages and Murderdads proper. But we're definitely going to be doing some Planescape content soon.
A little fun thing. But yeah, so they use their little gym, and they say, hey, we're doing it now. We're getting the heck out of here. And they open up a thing, and lo and behold, a bounty hunter shows up. Boba Fett, the Boba Fett of Faerun, shows up.
An interplanar bounty hunter.
Kind of the Wile E. Coyote of Sigil.
Just more competent.
I don't know, based on what occurs here. So he shows up, and he's like, hey, I'm taking all y'all prisoner. You're all on the run from a guy named Lord Duke Darkwood, which is, I actually went and looked Duke Darkwood up. So he's a duke in Sigil. He's like kind of the ruling class. He comes from Toriel originally, and kind of, basically the thing that I read suggested that he was someone's character in a campaign, like a designer who had completed a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of the major missions or modules of D&D, and so like that's his backstory, that he like cleaned out the demon web pits and all kinds of stuff like that.
Oh man, that had to take a big old duster.
Yeah, so he retired, quote unquote, into what do you call it? Into Sigil. So anyway, you find out that they've pissed off this dude because they wrote and performed a play that was a political satire.
Yeah.
And it was so scathing, it burned them, it just roasted Duke Darkwood so hard that he was like, I'm killing your ass across the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And so they ran away, and this bounty hunter came to get them. So he summons up a bunch of monsters. He summons up like an elemental, a fire elemental for me. He summons up some quasits, which are little imp-looking dudes. And then he sucks everybody's soul. Like, I kill all those, and he sucks Rayla Shea and Hair Dallas and the little blue dwarf, all those people up through the portal and into like sky hell.
Just a planar pocket, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's ruled by a cambion.
Yeah, so between the planes, there's just a bunch of nonsense, basically. Like a lot of chaos and sometimes even void.
Mm-hmm. It's just Calvin Ball up there.
Yeah, and I don't know. I rolled in, and I was just all out of bubblegum, and it was just a bad day for all these people. In the first fight, I picked up a pair of like paws of the cheetah, the boots of speed, and Balthazar is just, that was one of the, like, being able to engage a spellcaster first and quickly and like get around the front line is one of the few like elements of strategy left in this game where I'm like, what, level 25 or something now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Also, I misspoke. The maximum level is 40 in BG and BG Throne of Ball. So
dang.
Still got a ways to go. But anyway, these boots of speed are just like, Balthazar's able to get in people's faces so quickly and start interrupting spellcasting. It is good.
So you do that. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird, like, you can pick up that. You can pick up something called, like, the Pixie Poker or something like that.
Yeah.
Not the name. But it's like when it hits people, it puts them to sleep for one round. It's a +3 dagger. There's a bunch of, like, interesting little magical weapons here in this first fight. But yeah, these are just like bounty hunters, like interplanar bounty hunters. And you fight them, and they say, or then I talk to a thrall, like a guy who's like mentally enslaved. And he says that to the east, there is a demon. And that demon has the key to the enslaving thing, the mental enslaving power. So I can go defeat him, and that will reduce the power of the Cambion who runs this realm.
Exactly.
And that's the only way to get out of this realm, because the Cambion controls the teleportation magic to get you anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And that teleportation magic is controlled by, or is facilitated by, thralls, mentally dominated thralls.
And there's
who are
some
wizards.
strange things that happen, like on the bridges in between areas. There are kind of these holes in the ground, and if you are there for too long, you will fall into an area, and all it is an unnecessary, like, trash fight with random monsters like minotaurs sometimes, right?
Yeah, I literally, like, save scummed
Sure.
out of that before I could figure out how to avoid
I
them.
don't even know if the term save scum, like, holds water in a game like Baldur's Gate, which just assumes that's what you're doing 100% of the time.
Yeah, 90% of the time, if I reload, it's because I think, like, I'm not going to win a fight and I'm going to die. But in this case, I just didn't want to do any of these.
Sure.
Because there's, like, some Githyanki down there. And I was like, I guess I'll fight those guys. Not. So, yeah, so there's, like, a wyvern who's, like, talking all weird to you. But, yeah, I just kind of rolled through this. It was a little bit hard, but not too hard. Mm-hmm. And then I went and killed the Cambion, and he was very cool. And I also killed him. And then we got the heck out of there.
Yeah. And after you escape, Raylis says, hey, it's time for us to go. It's time for us to go back to rolling around the plains, which I think the Prime Material plane probably has the lowest standards for art, so I don't know what kind of success this troop is going to meet in like planes where angels can come and sing, right?
Yeah, did they take Biff with them?
I think so. I think Biff the Understudy is an interplanar being also.
God, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks for the rest of the universe. That they gotta listen to Biff deliver some lines.
It's a rough time.
It is, but I think that's a fun little quest, and we have, I don't think we signaled this appropriately last time, but in this game, for each of the major classes, there are stronghold quests.
Yes.
That if you complete them, they give you access to, like, basically like a little management simulation of different things to do. And for you, that is going to be the warrior stronghold, because barbarian gets lumped in, I think, with fighter.
Yeah.
So that is Diarni's Keep. But if either of us had been a cleric, the temple district would have been our
Well, it would have been the Cult of the Unseeing Eye area.
No, I think it's actually the temple. I think you begin working for one of the temples when you're done.
Really? Because
Yeah,
I think if you're... Oh, no, you're totally right. Because if you're evil, it's the Talos.
Yes.
If it's evil, if you do evil, you can... I think you get a choice in the three that are
And
there.
so if we are... if we had been a bard, then this would have been our stronghold quest, and we would run this little theater. And I remember doing that, and that's very fun.
Man.
But mine will be the planar sphere.
And I guess mine is Darney's Keep.
Yep. That is you. So we'll see those later in the game. But
Yeah.
we're going to adventure in the plains again. That's going to happen again. Well, with that in mind, we've got a little bit of a quest to say go out to the Umar Hills, figure out what the heck's been going on with all that murder and whatnot. What do you say about we take our first adventure outside of Athkatla to see what's going on in the Umar Hills? You want to do that?
Well, I don't know if Faerun is ready, but Balthazar is.
Balthazar's ready to do it. Yeah, I have some other stuff, some party stuff that you don't know anything about to talk about.
Oh man,
I do. Here I have a list. Boom. You remember a couple episodes that said Jaheira and Aerie have like a weird mother-daughter thing?
yeah.
Still going on. Jaheira, every time Aerie gets hurt, Jaheira is like, hey, don't get hurt. Viconia, mean as hell to Aerie. Makes fun of her
Ooh.
constantly.
Somebody might leave. Like Aerie might leave in a huff.
That could happen. And then, here's the weirdest one. Aerie received a critical hit. Minsk yelled, I must protect my witch.
Whoa.
So he's having some, like, flashbacks. It's sad. I also saw Nira. You remember Nira, the wild mage?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see her?
Yeah, she appeared in kind of a little random event in the Bridge District. A young magic user was being harassed by a group of people, and Nira came and gave that magic user a little talisman to teleport away. But Nira was like, "Oh shit, that was my getaway plan too. I didn't think about this at all," and then teleported us both somehow into like a random alley in between districts in Athkatla. And she said, "Oh yeah, meet me in a wild forest."
And I actually said when I met her, she's like, "Oh hey, I remember you," and I was like, "I don't remember you at all. I have no idea who you are." And she didn't care about that at all. So yeah, she said to meet in the wild forest. She wanted to show me all the wild mages that she had. She's like making a sanctuary for wild mages. So we'll do that at some point. That seems cool.
Yeah, you retconned her out after she turned herself into a squirrel permanently, right?
Yep. Out of here. But yeah, I think that's this episode. It was a deceptively small amount of stuff, but in fact, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we went to a lot of places. Went far away. I don't know how far away that planar bubble was, but it seemed far.
That's probably the furthest we have been so far.
Sure.
So next episode, we're gonna do the Umar Hills, and we're gonna try to solve some mysteries. There's all kinds of stuff to do in the Umar Hills. I love it. It's fun.
It's really fun.
There's a dungeon there. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
all right,
it's going to be a real rip-roaring time.
It is. Well, okay. So until next episode, well, you should follow us on Twitter. You should hit like and subscribe on this video. You should do all the stuff that we said at the very top of this video.
Clang the bell.
Patreon. Clang the bell. Hit that bell. But don't hit it 2 times. Only hit it 1 time. So you get the appropriate amount of information.
Hit it an odd number of times.
Yeah, every time. Well, goodbye.
Ciao.
Alando.